Hey, what's up, everyone? We're back. We're going to be breaking down UFC Fight Night, Overeem versus Volkov. We're back here in Las Vegas in the UFC Apex Center. It's going to be in a smaller cage. This card looks pretty decent as far as fun fights go. From a betting perspective, not so great. Also, some of the fights did drop out as well due to whatever reasons, like COVID. From what I remember was Andre Ewell just got dropped out of the card due to COVID. So I guess they're looking. Actually, I'm looking now that they found a new opponent for Cody Stamann. It's some random dude named Askar. You'd think that he was a Caucasian dude, but apparently he's from Illinois. So kind of random name. Like I mentioned, the odds don't look that great. The fight card doesn't look that great for betting, but nonetheless, I'll break it down either way. First fight of the night, I think it's Ode Osborne versus Dennis Bondar. I have no idea who either guy is. I've seen Ode fight before, and he got insta choked by Brian Kelleher. So. And looking at the fight finder for this other cat, Dennis Bondar, he's 14-1. He's got 100% finishes. Actually, he's been finished too. So, 15 fights, and all 15 fights he's either finished or been finished. He has a ton of submissions. He has 9 submissions and 5 knockouts. So I'm guessing this guy's probably gonna have the better ground game. Then Osborne. Osborne looks like he's got some submissions himself, but a lot of it is due to like arm bars and triangle chokes and things like that. So sounds like old Osborne's probably going to be fighting off his back, if anything. Yeah, like I said, I don't know who either of these guys are, so I'm going to blind bet Dennis Bondar. I'm not blind bet, but just blindly pick him. Just due to fight finder, but I haven't seen enough of either guy, so not really much for me to say. I can't really bet on that one. So next fight is Seung Woo Choi versus Yusuf Zalal. Formerly it was someone else. I forget who it was that was supposed to be fighting here. Doesn't matter either way. My pick for this fight is going to be the over. Zalal is the type of guy that's going to be bouncing around the cage and just really circling out and just picking his shots and pretty much trying not to get hit. So Choi, like most Korean fighters, is just going to be moving forward, heavy lead leg and trying to stalk Zalal down. And you know what? Zalal here is negative 255, and the comeback on Choi is actually plus 195. And I think those odds are pretty wide. I think Choi is a pretty decent fighter. I mean, he's not a great fighter, but I don't see why Zalal should be that big of a favorite over anybody. He hasn't really proven anything either. So, if anything, the fight should be a little bit closer to the 100s. So, but I do expect this fight to go over just because Zalal is the type of guy that's skirting around the ring and just hit and run. And it's a good matchup for both of them because both of them have a certain style that they're trying to play out. The over, I think it's probably going to be set at negative, in the negative 160, maybe 175-ish area. I think that's a pretty good fight. I mean, a good odds there. If it reaches anywhere from the 200, I might rethink it, but in the 100s, it looks good. I might actually even throw a little bit of chump change on the Korean fighter, possibly by decision. Just because, there's going to be 2 strikers going at it. I can see a path for victory for Choi here, unless Zalal starts working some takedowns or something. But I think Choi has some pretty good get-ups himself. So, it's going to be interesting to see how the judges score this one, for the guy that's picking his shots and getting out the way, or is it the guy that's just moving forward, eating the shots, but, pressuring. So, when it comes down to it, it's not really who picking the winner. It's picking the... picking the winner based off of what 3 judges think, and you give me odds like that, I'll play the underdog here. So, give me Choi, but my main play for this fight would be the over. Next fight, Molly McCann versus Laura Procopio. That's a skip for me. I'm gonna guess the over for this fight. Let's see what's the over set up at. Too expensive, so nope. That's a no play for me. Jocelyn Edwards versus Carol Rosa. That's another skip. I don't know who. Like, these are pretty low level women. I mean, I think Carol Rosa apparently has some hype behind her, so maybe I'll take a look at her style a little bit. But if I don't see something in the first minute, I'm not gonna put myself through any tape watch with these women here. So, Devontae Smith versus Justin James. This is also another short notice fight for someone. James, I don't remember who the replacement was for, but the odds are not out for this yet, but I do expect Devontae Smith to have steep odds, just like he had steep odds in his last fight. But this fight could probably go either way, if anything, because both of them are pretty much first round knockout fighters. Both of them are going to come out blazing in that first round, and it could pretty much be anybody's fight from there. Just like I said, the odds are not out yet, but I do expect Devontae Smith to be possibly in the negative 200s. And if that's the case, I might throw a little bit of change on James by knockout or something, just for the odds, but it's definitely not a pick of mine. Then I don't want to even pick this fight just because it's going to just pretty much be a firefight in that first round and see who gets finished there. So that's how it's probably going to play out. Martin Day versus Timur Valiev. This Martin Day taking the short notice fight here. Formerly it was Julio Arce, which was a pretty good matchup actually. That fight probably would have gone to a decision. That would have been my play. Martin Day is on a 3-fight losing streak here, so his back's pretty much against the wall if he loses this fight. I mean, he probably was gonna get cut either way. But, I guess they needed a body, and he stepped up, and I kept his contract alive here. So this is pretty much it for Martin Day here, and he needs to win this fight, or else, he's done. He's going to be 0-3 in the UFC, and 0-4, really. And Valiev is a pretty good fighter. I need to... Man, a lot of these Russian fighters or, Dagestanis, it's hard to remember sometimes. I need to refresh my memory on how he fights, but I do remember him doing. He's got decent wrestling, and he's got some high. He's got some athleticism to boot as well. So it's kind of tough to call here. I mean, obviously Valiev is going to be a huge favorite over Martin Day, and so the odds are probably going to be unplayable. But I do expect Valiev to win by decision. Like I mentioned, I'm probably gonna go back and watch some tape on his style a little bit and kind of gauge on how he fights. But maybe I'll pick Valiev by decision here. But Martin Day, he's talented in the striking department, but man, dude just brain farts way too much and doesn't stay focused. So Valiev by decision. That's the pick for me. Mike Rodriguez versus Danilo Marquez. Not much isn't really known about Marquez other than his debut that he fought in, and man, what is this, middleweight or light heavyweight? Okay, light heavyweight is a barren wasteland. This dude is super duper unathletic. I guess he's looking to take the fight down against Mike Rodriguez and throw a couple leg kicks here and there. But man, dude is super slow. I expect Mike Rodriguez to win the striking department and pretty much possibly knock out Marquez. But fuck, man, like he as well makes a ton of brain farts as well. So not to be trusted at all. But I do expect Rodriguez to win by knockout. But yeah, man, fuck light heavyweight, man. In his last fight, Rodriguez, that is, he got Kimura by Ed Herman after winning pretty much the entire fight, and that's just pretty much how light heavyweight fights go. Sometimes it's the momentum can shift at any point. Like Rodriguez can be destroying Marquez, and then one mistake and ends up getting submitted or something. So, again, the pick is Rodriguez, but the bet I'm probably just gonna skip it. But gun to my head, I would bet on Rodriguez by knockout or something. Next fight, actually, have a play on. Actually, it's gonna be Clay Guida over Michael Johnson. And man, like, what's there to say? Michael Johnson is always the type of fighter that's winning until he doesn't. His record is 19-16. Like, man, then again, Clay Guida's record is 35-20. So these guys have a ton of losses between each other, and probably more losses than the entire card combined. Yeah, that's crazy. Just judging from Clay Guida's last fight, when he fought against Bobby Green, it looks like he's still got that tenacity and that that dogged wrestling, and he's still got a good gas tank, and his wrestling is still a good threat. He's 39 years old, however, and could fall off a cliff at any point in this time, and his durability has pretty much fallen off. He's been finished a ton of his fights, but I've seen a couple new wrinkles to Clay's game, and his striking has gotten a lot better, and he's very opportunistic. I mean, he's still a wrestler at heart, and he's still gonna go for the wrestling. But he didn't look bad in his last fight. So like I said, I think in this fight it's gonna play out the way like most Michael Johnson fights goes. He's gonna be winning the fight until he doesn't, and I expect Clay to lose that first round, but end up getting takedowns in the second and third, and beating Michael Johnson here. So give me Clay Guida money line plus 185. And when the odds do come out, possibly play his plus 3.5 handicap, and possibly by his decision. So that's a play on that one. Cody Stamann versus a guy named Askar. I have no idea who the dude is, so odds are probably going to be pretty stacked against this new guy. So Cody Stamann's probably going to beat him, but not really much to discuss. And yeah, next fight is going to be a pretty good flyweight fight with Alexandre Pantoja versus Manel Cape. Cape is coming from Risen. He did pretty good there, but he did split wins and losses there. He looks like a really, really good striker, though, Cape, that is. And he's got some pretty heavy hands for a guy that's only 125 pounds. And athletic dude, okay wrestling. He's got some good athletic wrestling. But I think, in this fight, Pantoja's only a negative 145 favorite for a guy who's this big of a... this guy's got a ton of experience, a ton of UFC experience, and he's fought some pretty good competition in the UFC so far, and has done pretty well for himself. So in this matchup, I think, like I said, Cape has some really good striking, so he's some really good hands. However, I think in the end, Pantoja's gonna get what he wants, and he's gonna eventually get to the back and either find that rear naked choke or win by decision. So he's got the experience. Pantoja can handle himself on the feet pretty well. He's just way more well-rounded, and I like the odds on this fight. It's negative 135, actually. So, I like this fight here. Give me Pantoja money line at negative 135. Feel pretty good about this one. Okay, the next fight doesn't make any sense. I don't know why this is even so high on the card, but Macy Chiasson versus Marion Renault. Renault is a 43-year-old PE teacher. Ton of respect for her, though. She looks like she's in great shape. She's a teacher. She's a female fighter fighting at this advanced age. So all props to her, and much respect to her. But she's old, and she is on a losing streak. I don't know why they put her so high up on the card. And Macy is not a good fighter. I think her style is trash. I think she won't go very far, and the odds are pretty high on Macy. However, I could break down how I think the fight is going to play out, and that's I think most of this fight is going to be played out in the clinch. I think at range, Renault is actually going to be the better fighter at range. I think she's got the better striking, better kicks, better better hands. However, Macy's gonna pretty much just crash the distance, grab the collar tie, and just throw knees and elbows and punches, and use her leverage and her height to just pretty much beat Mariano in the clinch. This fight could be close. However, I mean, Renault is a underdog at plus 180, and if I were to play it for fun, I'd probably bet on Renault here at plus 180, just because I don't think Chiasson is very good. Even if Chiasson lands on the top, I think Renault has the black belt here and could possibly even submit her. So, yeah, I would never bet on Macy Chiasson at negative. I mean, at that big of a favorite. So, I'm gonna pick Renault here, but most likely I probably won't play any money on this fight. So whatever. Co-main event, really good fight. However, there's no real way to bet this fight. Corey Sandhagen versus Frankie Edgar. Sandhagen is negative 425. Not gonna bet that, but I do expect him to win. He's a younger fighter. He's longer. He's taller. He's a really solid fighter here, and Frankie Edgar is he's getting up there in age, and what can you say? He's 39 years old, and fighting some young hungry dogs here, and Corey's 28 in the prime of his career and coming off a really good win. So, yeah, I mean, Corey Sandhagen's probably gonna win. I don't know how they're gonna win though. Whether it's gonna be by decision or finish, but I do expect Corey to win here. So it is what it is. Main event: Alexander Volkov versus Alistair Overeem. Volkov is the slight favorite at negative 185, and the comeback on Overeem is plus 160. You could never really count Overeem out, just because offensively he's such a dynamo and has a ton of power offensively, but he just obviously can't take a punch. I think offensively, like I said, I think Overeem is probably going to be the better offensive fighter. I mean, it's not to say that Volkov isn't a great offensive fighter himself either, but overall power and strength, I'll give it to Overeem. But it could play out like this. I think Overeem will probably be really good in the early rounds, and then and Volkov is durable enough to kind of last and possibly get Overeem out of there in the late rounds, maybe in the third, fourth, or fifth. And that's probably how it could play out. Just Overeem not being able to put Volkov away, and then eventually Volkov outlasting him and possibly finding a late round finish, or maybe to just taking over the late rounds. And it's hard to predict whether this fight will go over or under, or whether it'll go long or short. If it does go, it's really hard to predict that actually. I'm gonna go with Volkov here, but man, I don't want to bet on this one here at all, actually. I mean, I could still see Overeem being competitive here as well. If he's able to get takedowns possibly, or just fight a really smart fight like he normally does. But, man, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this one. I mean, pick goes to Volkov, but that's a skip for me. That's probably maybe a dog or pass situation, but, we'll see. I'll just recap what I have bet on so far. Is Clay Guida, his money line at plus 185. Oh, you know what? Shoot, I totally forgot to break down one of the best fights on the damn card. I don't know how it escaped me. Beneil Dariush versus Diego Ferreira. This fight should actually be this fight could be the co-main event if it wasn't for Frankie and Corey there, but this is a really solid rematch, but a solid matchup nonetheless. The odds are pretty close. Dariush is a slight underdog at plus 105, and Ferreira is plus 120, negative 125. Solid fight. I know a lot of people are on Ferreira here in the rematch. Beneil already has a win over him by decision. The first fight played out with Dariush getting takedown, then winning the fight that way, edging the fight. This matchup currently with Ferreira, he's actually 36 years old, so he's actually he's got to make a run for it himself. But Ferreira back then didn't really have much striking, but today he's got he throws a ton of volume. He's a pressure fighter. He's got a really solid one too. He does the basics very well now. Dariush, on the other hand, apparently is coming back from like a neck surgery, so he says he feels brand new. So yeah, man, it's gonna be a really difficult fight to pick. I think, I mean, both these guys are black belts. They're both solid on the ground. Like that's an understatement. Both these guys are tremendous on the ground. So, man, I'm a huge fan of Dariush in general. I like the person he is. I like his character. He's a very nice dude. Does a ton of charities and things like that. So I can't really bet against my boy. And as a fan, I'm definitely rooting for Dariush. As a bettor, I'm not 100% sure who to pick here, just because, like I said, Dariush has been known to get hit a lot. Fajeda, he throws a ton of volume. Fight could end up playing like that. However, the fight could also, have Dariush winning on takedowns as well and just edging the fight out. So, I think I'm gonna bet on Dariush as a fan. Don't expect to win or lose, but I also think that this fight should probably go over as well. The over is negative 135 at 2.5. I think that might be the play for me too. And prop wise, I'm actually gonna throw some money on Dariush by decision at plus 325, just for the odds. Because that's already how he beat him, and yeah, so give me those odds, and I'll probably play that prop right there. So again, just to recap, my picks are gonna be Clay Guida plus 185, Pantoja negative 135, the over for Zalal and Sung Woo Choi, which is possibly set at negative 150, 160 or something, and then I'm gonna play Dariush by decision, possibly the over on this one. And then the rest of the card, I'm probably going to play for action, but we'll see. I don't have strong opinions on the rest of the cards. But, yeah, that's it. Next week will be another card, so I'll see you guys then.